This is Ryan Utterback with Utterback Real Estate. Don't get burned.
No worries, I have my SPF 1000.
It's time to list your house with us while the market's still hot.
Like Pekin wrapped jalapenos.
And that's why you're the other Ryan.
List your house today by clicking the Utterback Real Estate icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Do you want a chance to positively impact the community and grow your career? If you've got the passion, Memorial is the place. Right now, Memorial Health is hiring for a wide range of positions across multiple departments and clinic areas. Apply your passion today. Visit us online at jobs.memorial.health to see all available positions, benefits, and more. Come discover all the things Memorial has to offer. Memorial is an equal opportunity employer.
We're the late night place to be. Hi, Jim Bohannon here, host of the Jim Bohannon Show, heard weeknights from 9 till midnight on all of the WHOW platforms. Join me with stimulating guests and your calls on the topics of the day. We bring you guests to keep you in the know every weeknight from 9 till midnight. It's the Jim Bohannon Show on 92.3 FM in DeWitt County, 106.5 FM in Logan County, plus streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com on the WHOW mobile app and Amazon Alexa.
DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air and online 24 hours a day. The latest local news stories are heard every hour on Central Illinois' news station, the Big 1520 AM and 92.3 FM WHOW. Stream live at DeWittDailyNews.com. They're also heard every hour on the station that's your easy choice, 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air, online, 24 hours a day.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in this segment of the WHOW Morning Show is Maroa Police Chief Patrick Siemsen. Good morning, Chief. How are you?
Morning. Good morning.
Thanks for coming out and talking with us. Really appreciate your time here with us today. And first of all, so first time with us here in studio,
Yes,
and
sir.
I understand you've not been in Maroa very long, so introduce yourself to us.
No, about 10 days in Maroa. This week was my first week as a police chief, so glad to be there. I feel very supported. Community's been very welcoming. Mayor Wilkie, Trustee Blake West, and City Administrator AG, and everybody in the community, the police department has been very welcoming to me. From day one of the interview, I felt very welcome. Yesterday, I visited the Macon County Law Enforcement Training Center. I was very impressed. That comes from over 30 years of law enforcement experience. They were also extremely welcoming. So
Sure.
I feel very fortunate to be down here.
Tell us a little bit about your background in law enforcement. I understand it's pretty extensive.
Yeah, I've had a really, really good career. Been very fortunate. So I started off right out of high school. Went to the Army, served in the U.S. Army, Illinois Army National Guard. Did that for 6 years. Actually was a police officer when I was 20 years old. Did some military police stuff, but then got hired by the Tinley Park Police Department, served there 4 years, got hired full-time by the Homewood Police Department, and that's where I've spent the majority of my career. 27 years there, retired honorably from there. While I was there, I was really fortunate. I had a great everything. I can't say enough about the village, that the opportunities I had for training, education. I mean, between the military and school, the village, I was able to get, a lot of college, got 3 college degrees, was able to go to some advanced leadership training later on in my career, Northwestern University School of Police Staff and Command, which is very, it's like through Northwestern University, it's international. You have international students in there. So I was really fortunate to go to that. While I was there, I served in a bunch of different roles.
Yeah. Tell us about those.
Yeah. I was obviously police officer, training officer, detective, detective sergeant, investigator, got promoted to sergeant. And then I ended up leaving there being in charge, detective sergeant in charge of the investigations unit. So I kind of had 2 careers there. So Homewood, Flossmoor, a lot of people put it together. It is 2 separate towns, but very, very nice community. The the problems exist there. Actually, Maroa kind of reminds me of it, the downtown area. The problems there exist because it's 30 miles from the city, large, interstate I-80, 57 is close. So you got a lot of Harveys to the north, Chicago Heights to the south. So a lot of transit stuff coming through. When I started there, I did speak Spanish. I speak Spanish now. I'm bilingual. And I didn't do that on purpose. I didn't have it in college. I didn't had really no purpose in doing it at the time. I was married. My wife was 100% Hispanic. My wife now is 100% Hispanic, and I ended up living in the country of Peru for a while. But I picked that up at work, and it was out of necessity. So that's a skill that I wasn't expecting to do that, and it opened my mind to so many. One of my daughters speaks fluent Spanish now. Speak Spanish at home, so that is probably one of the things that's helped me throughout my life that I never saw coming. It was really in law enforcement, and I've had every opportunity from hostage situations. People don't speak. I've probably arrested a couple thousand people that didn't speak English. Yeah, it's actually really helped me.
Wow.
And I haven't spoken too much of it down here yet. But I do speak it daily, so it's always something I know I'm not a native speaker, but I'm always trying to advance on it.
So curious, you go from and the suburbs of Chicago, obviously very diverse, and
right.
there's in terms of just the
I know where we're going with this question.
Well, I'm just kind of curious, what's the difference between up there and down here?
So let me tell you a little bit more about my background, and then that'll lead into that.
Okay, sure.
I do get that question a lot. So it's Cook County.
Oh, it is Cook County.
Yeah. My whole law enforcement career up until about a little over a year ago. So almost my entire career was in Cook County.
I didn't realize that.
And I'm not. We're and Cook County. Cook County is the biggest populated county in the U.S. My wife works for the Cook County Sheriff's Office now. So I'm not saying that's a good thing or a positive thing. People often, if you're applying outside of Cook County, people look at you like we don't want that. It is definitely negative stereotype attached to that. But what I say is, you don't want that, but that's why you want me, so we can avoid that. Because the crime is ridiculous there. I don't think right before I retired, we had a young gentleman that did a murder, and we had arrested him again for 3 weeks later for a carjacking. So being criminal justice practitioner, I teach at colleges and universities criminal justice. I always thought people went to jail. In Cook County, that just doesn't happen. So with that, part of my career, I started talking about my secondary career at the police department was for 25 years. I was assigned to a very large multi-jurisdictional SWAT team, South Suburban Police Emergency Response Team. That team really didn't exist. It was just growing when I got on there. So I was there at the foundational piece, and when I left, it was up to almost 40. At one time it was up to 46 communities, and I ended up being the commander of the team, the director of training, and so I was in charge of about 100 officers. So the officers were from all these different towns, some bigger towns, some smaller towns, and we would go out and do regularly, like very often, almost daily. High risk search warrants, hostage barricade, things like that. And I've had a lot of really good experience with that, some tragic stuff too with that, but that really gave me a very good understanding of law enforcement in Cook County. So how does that differ? It differs greatly. We don't have those problems out here. I think those experiences are going to lend to me to avoid some of those problems. If we do experience those, I'll have the experience to navigate those and get the resources I can to help us. So it's definitely different. I'll tell you one thing I notice about through interviews, they always ask me, well, why? Because when I drive down the street, I want people to wave at me and know who I am. Use all their fingers. I want people to know me. I want to know what the police department stands for. I want the police department to be viewed as collaborative and partners with the community. Because to me nowadays, that's the only way we're going to be successful.
Well, and that kind of speaks to how you're going to approach your time in Maroa. Again, our guest in studio this morning is Maroa Police Chief Patrick Siemsen with us in studio. So talk a little bit about your approach. And by the way, is this your first job as like a chief per se?
No. So when I left there's two things I didn't do in law enforcement. when I left. I wasn't on a homicide team because all the detectives I supervised, they were on a kind of like the SWAT team I just talked about and described. They were same thing, but it was a homicide team. So I couldn't be on both. When I left, I got put on a homicide team for another department, Illinois State Police, Cook County Major Crimes Task Force. Surprisingly, I found I didn't like it. I had been on call for over 25 years for both the detective stuff and the SWAT stuff. And at the end, I was on call for both for like 6 years. So from that, I didn't know about dogs and I didn't know about that. I ended up getting involved with a therapy dog program through one of my other employers, a large school district. And so now I have experience with dogs and
that homicide
and homicide team. So the therapy dog has been really great, and I'm going to use it. I got Lucy here in the studio for with us today. So Lucy's a trained therapy dog. So
how do you use her?
How am I going to use her? Well, how I've used her in the past. So Lucy's a rescue dog, and I obtained her cost-free from the Brevard County Sheriff's Office in Brevard County, Florida. She's a graduate of the prestigious Paws and Stripes College, which is a cost-free organization that provides therapy dogs to police departments, social service agency, victims advocates. So Lucy has a therapy dog certification, a victim witness dog court certification, so she can go into court. A lot of schools. She was around at one of my previous employers. She was around a couple thousand people every day. So basically, I want to just have her out there, and a couple of kids in the community have already got to see her and got to
meet her.
Yeah, got to meet her and got to play with her. And she's a great dog, and she's a great resource. How I deployed her before was, again, I'm not one of those crazy dog people, and I didn't understand dogs before. But let me tell you something. I'm a changed man with that, because in the short 2 years that I've had her, I've seen some remarkable things. I had one of my SRO officers, and the school district I worked for was very violent, very, very violent. And
Homewood Flossmoor was?
No. It was a different school district.
Sorry.
It was where I was a director of security. And one of the SROs in there, a lot of the kids didn't want to interact with them. But my job was really demanding. And he started just trying to help me out and take the dog for a walk. Mm-hmm. Well, kids that wouldn't talk to him for years suddenly wanted to talk to him. Mm-hmm. A lot of scientific data behind it that'll allow people to interact. I mean, I've had a lot of experience with it. It's probably best served in the school and in a victim setting. But basically, she's just there in case anybody wants her. I've seen a lot of employees of the school district, which really took me back, that wanted her too. People just having bad days.
Petting a dog's therapeutic.
Oh man, it's amazing. It's something I'll tell you, they didn't have the program. I drew up the program, crafted it, and implemented it, and it's been really good. So I know the trustees, the mayor, and city administrators are really behind me with this. I think they've already seen a little bit of it, and she's been at the station. Today will be her second day there.
Okay,
so,
cool.
She'll like it.
Now, you mentioned having her out in the community and the school system.
Yeah.
Is that a connection piece? You know, we talk about community policing. Is that really what that's about?
It is, and it's about partnerships and collaboration. It's also, City of Maroa is obviously very professional. It's also about offering as many services and resources as we can in the community, mm-hmm. so that they can partner with us. Because again, this is all about collaboration and partnerships. Now, speaking on school safety, it's a big thing now since Uvalde. So 3 days after Uvalde happened, I had the number one school expert. His name's Ken Trump, nationally for sure, but internationally, he's testified in front of Congress before. Amazing man. So he came down just after I'd had him scheduled before, so it was just
kind of coincidental.
Yeah, but I got to I'm good friends with him. I became good friends with him, and there's a lot of what they found. There's a lot of studies done from Columbine on, and what they found, the number one solution, or I shouldn't even say that, remediation tactic to school shootings is communication. Mm-hmm. And what they found from the study, it's called the FBI bystander study. And what they found was that when these things were averted, or even when they weren't averted, it was every incident. The study found every incident somebody knew about the shooting was going to happen. Now, the amount of information they had, but it was what they did with it, or they didn't do with it. And what they found is the people that did act on that information, and some of it was clear, I'm going to show up to school. Or some of it was vague threats. But what they found was it was based on relationships, 100%. And if somebody trusted, they call it a trusted adult. And this was even like school people that they saw things and they didn't do something, because no one believes that that's really going to happen to them. And how they acted on these things, or if they acted or when they acted, was based on the level of trust and their comfort with law enforcement or school administrators. So the dog is going to allow us to help bridge that gap simply by open communication and allow us to speak with people. And from the school where I was, which was extremely violent, I know that to be true.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, very good. Chief, let's take a time out. Let's come back with some more. Again, our guest in studio this morning is Maroa Police Chief Patrick Siemsen with us in studio. We've got more with him on the way on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Connected.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn and beans lower, wheat trading higher. September corn 591 1/4, down 5 1/2. December new crop down 7 3/4, 587 1/2, and March corn 593 3/4, down 7 3/4. August beans 1454 1/2, down 22 3/4. September beans down 17 3/4, 1357 3/4. November new crop down 18 3/4, 1339 1/2. September wheat 819 3/4, up 7 1/2. December wheat up 8 3/4, 836 3/4. August bean meal down $1.50, 433.50. August bean oil 61.18, down 71 cents. August live cattle 136.02, up 30 cents. August feeders 179.10, up 35 cents. August lean hogs 114.47, up $1.65. In the energy market, September Brent crude oil down $1.79, 105.56. Jim Taylor, RFD.
Having a hard time finding the correct new car, truck, SUV, or crossover to fit your needs? This is Scott Baum from Bob Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. Some lots look low on inventory, so go to our website, look at our pre-order and reserve tab. You'll see inventory in transit, which are built and on their way to Clinton, and in production, new Chevys and Buicks, which are being built and will arrive soon. Or you can always call our sales team. They can help you find the correct one just for you. BombChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton is your local trusted source for compassionate care. CEO Paul Scourin here reminding you to find out how we provide care close to home by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
When it comes to fire and water restoration, ServPro of Piatt DeWitt counties is the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. Find out all the services they provide by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace now offers free assembly and free delivery, so it's never been easier to get a great grill for your family, like a Weber gas grill, a Traeger wood pellet grill, or a Big Green Egg charcoal grill. Only at your neighborhood Ace. Around the block, what you need in stock, with people who know their grills.
This is Brad from Gibson Ace Hardware in Clinton, Illinois. Stop in to see us, the helpful place at 114 North Madison Street, Clinton.
See participating store for details.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence, and Maroa Police Chief Patrick Siemsen joins us in studio this morning. And Chief, I know that we were catching up before we got started. I met you out in the parking lot and was able to catch you out there. You mentioned Lucy and the role that she's going to play in the community, and she went through a phenomenal program to basically be trained for the goals that you have for her. But talk about how you acquired her. This is a really interesting story.
Yeah, it is. So Lucy's a therapy dog. She came from the Brevard County Sheriff's Office.
And by the way, she's kind of walking around by you there, and some folks on the video can see her a little bit. So
Sheriff Wayne Ivey is a sheriff down there, and they started a really unique program. It's called the Paws and Stripe College. So Lucy is a therapy dog, so it's not a drug dog. Lucy doesn't do any bite work. Lucy could probably be a tracking dog. Lucy might hug or kiss you to death. That's about it.
Right. Yeah.
So, and a lot of people do see that. So that's why I got a big sign on her. If anybody sees me, you're welcome to come up and please take her for a walk and hug her, because Lucy can't get enough affection. She's 100% yellow lab. So she was a rescue dog. So what they think about the circle of this. It's amazing. So she's a rescue dog. So they go to these rescues and they can't find enough. And they actually, they got a bunch of dogs from there was a hurricane somewhere, Jamaica or something, a couple of years ago, and they went down there and got all the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So they get these dogs, and the lady in charge of it, Clara Muter, her husband actually started it, and she's a director now. So it's tied into the sheriff's office. Sheriff Wayne Ivey's he's pretty vocal, I think his approval and reelection rating is in the high 90s, but he's all over Facebook. So they bring these dogs in, and the inmates train them. And this is a totally different training facility from bomb dogs or anything like that. So they bring the dogs in, and the inmates train these dogs. I think Lucy was there for 8 months, and then another dog that I got with Lucy. I was just down there last month and got another dog.
So you have 2 dogs?
No. I got it for another location.
Another
and then Crete Police Department, I just got them a dog. I'm working on a couple other places to get them dogs too. Dogs are all cost free. It's a 501c3,
That's
not
amazing.
for profit.
Wow.
So then they have the inmates train these dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So again, think of this. So I've been down there 3 times. I went to class and a recertification, and then I'm also instructing for them because some of the stuff I wrote for the school for the therapy dog, they weren't doing that, so they liked the stuff, so they're using it as their standard now. So when I get a chance, I go down there. But so the inmates train the dogs for however often. They're having more classes now, so they've got a class in September and December. And if anyone wants to look it up, Paws and Stripe College, they always can use donations. So the inmates train a dog, and then the police officers come down there, and the police officers get certified. So, they get AKC certification. They get certification through the sheriff's office and a couple other organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a therapy dog. So a lot of people kind of confuse what a therapy dog is versus a service dog.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference is when you think of a service dog might be like somebody that's blind. If that person's holding holding the leash, that dog is for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm holding Lucy's leash. It's the exact opposite. That dog's for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, they tell you, hey, you're coming down here for the training, but the dog's already trained. We're training you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really diligent and targeted on what they do with the dogs. They take you out with the dogs, and they take you to all these different facilities, which you really don't understand, but they want to make sure that your dog, when a little kid comes up and grabs the dog's mouth, they're not gonna
bite it.
or
Yeah.
bite. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Gotta you go in elevators, you go in escalators, you go around different people that look different. I mean, they really want to take you out and go through simply walking through a supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very good at that. And then the dog comes home with you, and they go to different places. I've seen dogs down there, obviously police departments, fire departments, school districts. I was the first, even though I was law enforcement, one of the guys I went with, it was the first dog that they gave to some type of agency that wasn't tied to a law enforcement agency. So it was just a school district, victim service agencies, any advocates, hospitals are using them. A lot of times you'll see therapy dogs that are brought in like during a critical incident or something like that, or even old folks homes, veterans homes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The dogs that they have are permanent dogs that, they live with the handler. They go to the handler with her every day of work.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And then provide services, whoever.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So I'm, she's a great asset.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the benefits, that, the city administrator agent, when I sent him Lucy has her own resume, by the way. So I didn't tell him. I sent it. He said, I was reading it. He goes, oh, he's got a family member that's in law enforcement, which I do. My son is in law enforcement. So is my wife. But he got all the way through it, and he said, what the heck is this? He saw that was Lucy has her own resume because she's got a bunch of certifications and credentials.
Yeah. Wow. That's wild.
So
Good
that's gonna help me. I think get the community. I get people all the time like, hey, we have a dog. What's a dog? I had some kids the other day say that to me. So it just opens those lines of communication. Allows people to approach. To talk. We got some. Thanks to Trusty West, he's got some swag coming from Lucy to make her look like Maroa's own. So,
very good. Very good. Well, Chief, I hate to do this to you. I got to let you go already.
Oh,
it goes by fast, doesn't
yeah,
it? It
right.
does. Very
Yeah,
good.
right.
Chief, thanks so much for coming out. Hopefully we can have you back. That's Maroa Police Chief Patrick Siemsen in studio with us. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Network news on the way on the WHOW Morning Show.